An excavation team discovers a pipe running underground in the middle of a dense forest. This was quite surprising because the area they were standing on was an old, dead volcano fully covered by trees, plants, and grass. To investigate the pipe, the team decided to send in a night vision camera. When the camera descended about 30 meters into the ground, it captured a view of a massive tunnel. It was March 7, 2018, and the excavation team near the city of Lublin in southern Poland was about to witness something unusual 30 meters beneath the surface. As the camera moved through the tunnel, to their astonishment, they saw a railway track. At that moment, they were left wondering what this railway track was doing there when suddenly a minecart caught their attention. When local authorities learned of the discovery, they brought with them a map of a long-lost tunnel from World War II. It was revealed that this tunnel had been built around 80 years ago, during World War II, and local authorities had been searching for it for years. The entrance to the tunnel had been sealed off with large stones, and over the years, soil and grass had completely erased the entrance's marks. However, on the inside, the tunnel was exactly as shown on the map. The presence of a railway track and mine carts suggested that this tunnel had been used for storing materials during World War II. The iron items inside the tunnel had rusted over time, and tools like shovels, drill bits, and pickaxes were found exactly where Nazi military soldiers had left them 80 years ago. During World War II, countries like Nazi Germany and Japan fought against the likes of America and Britain. During this time, Hitler's army constructed thousands of underground bunkers. While Hitler initially started these, later, Allied forces also began using underground tunnels and bunkers. World War II bunkers held significant strategic importance. They were designed for both defense and offense. Some were used to protect against enemy attacks, while others were used to launch assaults. These bunkers protected against airstrikes and artillery shells, providing soldiers with secure bases. Defensive bunkers were often designed at frontline positions to withstand enemy attacks. For instance, Germany's Atlantic Wall was a strong barrier against Allied forces' assaults. Some bunkers were used for strategic planning, where commanders secretly managed their operations. So many underground bunkers and war rooms were constructed during World War II that it's still difficult to count them today. In fact, thousands of bunkers remain buried underground. It's said that during World War II, both the Allied and Axis powers spent so much on building these bunkers that there was a worldwide shortage of steel and cement. Estimates suggest that building these bunkers cost nearly $500 billion to $1 trillion in today's terms. To put it into perspective, the 20-year war in Afghanistan cost the United States about $300 million per day. During World War II, the daily expenditure on constructing bunkers amounted to about $460 million. And that was just the construction cost. It's also impossible to estimate the cost of manpower, logistics, and ammunition. Let's dive into the bitter memories of history and learn more about some of these bunkers. The Atlantic Wall was a massive coastal defense system built by Nazi Germany during World War II. This system stretched 2,400 miles, 3,800 kilometers along Europe's coastline, designed to protect against Allied forces' naval attacks. Built between 1940 and 1944, it included thousands of bunkers, ammunition depots, and fortresses. At the time, Hitler controlled much of France, and part of the Atlantic Wall extended into northern France's Normandy region, where the Longues-sur-Mer artillery battery was installed. These bunkers were designed to withstand heavy bombardments and provide defensive fire during attacks. In Norway, the lower part of the Atlantic Wall was specifically designed to prevent Allied forces from entering via the North Atlantic Ocean. Hitler had built fortresses here, such as Kristiansand, to protect naval routes. The Netherlands, also under Nazi control at the time, had thousands of Siegfried bunkers along the coast. This entire Atlantic Wall, which included underground bunkers, depots, tunnels, artillery batteries, and fortresses, was constructed by a company led by German engineer Fritz Todt. Over 160,000 workers, mostly prisoners of war, were forced to build these structures in just 4 years. Today, some parts of the Atlantic Wall still exist as historical monuments, reminding us of the engineering feats and the costs involved. When Hitler built the Atlantic Wall, the Allied powers could never have imagined the difficulties they would face later on. Then, in 1942, an event occurred that opened the eyes of both America and Britain. The Canadian forces, part of the Allied powers, planned an attack on the French town of Dieppe, known today as the Dieppe Raid. The aim of this raid was to understand how Hitler's Atlantic Wall worked. These strong concrete bunkers thwarted the Allied attack. The Allied troops trying to land on the coastline were caught in Nazi Germany's deadly crossfire. This was a massive shock to the Allied forces, as they didn't anticipate how robust the Atlantic Wall was. This mission involved 6,000 Allied soldiers, of whom 3,600 were either killed or captured by the Nazis. After the Dieppe raid, the Allied forces realized that in order to defeat Hitler's regime, they would need to invest heavily in bunker and defense system planning. As a result, countries like the United Kingdom, France, the Soviet Union, and Canada invested heavily in constructing bunkers and tunnels. One example is the Churchill War Rooms, an underground complex in London that served as Britain's headquarters during World War II. This complex was specifically designed to protect against Nazi airstrikes. In France, the Maginot Line, built after World War I, was further expanded with new underground bunkers and tunnels. France believed this system would protect them, but during World War II, Germany bypassed the Maginot Line and invaded France via Belgium. On the other side of the world, Japan, which was Hitler's ally during World War II, also built thousands of underground bunkers. A complete network of tunnels, including hidden artillery positions, storage rooms, and living quarters, was created under the island of Iwo Jima. These tunnels were used for surprise attacks during Allied offensives. The bunkers and tunnels of Okinawa were even larger and more complex, where thousands of Japanese soldiers were positioned for defense and resistance. These defense systems were designed to delay Allied invasions and maximize casualties. The engineering behind all the bunkers built during World War II by various countries was nothing short of miraculous. The atmosphere of war, combined with material shortages and constant threats from airstrikes, made their construction a difficult challenge. Many workers even lost their lives due to suffocation while working in the underground tunnels. Despite these challenges, thousands of bunkers were not only built but still remain hidden underground to this day, especially those built by Axis powers. After World War II, when their reign ended, soldiers either sealed off the bunker entrances and fled or died inside. As a result, no one knew the exact locations of these bunkers. One method of finding these bunkers involved the secret documents held by Hitler's government. However, these documents were either burned or hidden in places only known to those who concealed them. These bunkers were often camouflaged within the natural terrain, making it difficult for anyone to detect them. After the war, these bunkers remained hidden. Special ventilation systems were installed to bring fresh air into the bunkers and expel carbon dioxide. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler relied on several bunkers during his reign. One of the most famous was Eagle's Nest Kelstein House, located in the Obersalzberg area of Germany, 6,000 feet above sea level. This bunker was built for Nazi leadership meetings and relaxation, using concrete and granite to make it bomb-proof. Another famous bunker was the Vorbunker in Berlin. Built in 1944, this was not just a bunker but a complete headquarters. It was designed to protect against Allied bombings and artillery. It was here that Hitler spent his final days and took his own life on April 30, 1945. Today, no part of this bunker is visible on the surface, but it remains one of the darkest chapters of World War II history. Now, let's talk about Hitler's other bunker, where he spent most of his time during the war. The Wolf's Lair, a bunker that looks more like a fortress, is located in the middle of a forest in North Germany. Inside this bunker was Hitler's bedroom, surrounded by offices. The concrete roof was nearly 7 meters thick. A thick layer of gravel protected the entire fortress-like bunker from airstrikes and bombings. A heavy steel door protected against chemical attacks. This bunker, resembling an Egyptian tomb, was so sturdy that it remains impossible to destroy today. The security was so tight that there were no windows. A special ventilation system was installed to circulate fresh air throughout the bunker. Despite this tight security, the bunker was made invisible within the landscape of the forest. The roof was covered with dirt, and the same types of trees and plants found in the surrounding forest were planted on top so that when planes flew overhead, they wouldn't suspect that Hitler's headquarters was below. Allied powers, including the USA, UK, Canada, and other forces, spent years planning to breach Nazi Germany's strong defensive bunkers and the Atlantic Wall to counter Hitler's Atlantic Wall. Over 156,000 troops, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 aircraft were deployed. This happened on June 6, 1944, a day now remembered as D-Day. On this day, Germany fought against the Allied forces using their bunkers and artillery, but their planning and resources weren't as effective. Allied airstrikes and paratroopers successfully fought against German communications and defenses. Although the Allied forces suffered significant losses initially, they eventually succeeded in breaking Nazi Germany's control over Europe. I hope you all like and share this video from Mystery Hub. Thank you so much for your loving comments. See you in the next amazing video.